You are live now.
Okay, they always say that the third time is a charm. So let's see if you're able to hear me now. The last two times it was sounding kind of, I don't know, rough. But this time I'm doing it for the third time. Let's see if you can hear me this time. Let me know before I begin talking. As a matter of fact, I will begin talking and let me know if you can hear me. So I put in the caption things you always wanted to know about my eyes, but probably you were afraid to ask me. I did a sermon a couple of months back to our youth and young adults, and the name of the sermon was called "You Cant Stop Me." And in the sermon, I began to reveal to them a little bit about my journey, especially with my eyes. And after the sermon was over, many people came to me and they said, Minister Smalls, I never knew that. Or Sister Smalls, I never knew that about you. And I was like, wow, I've been with these people all of these years and I never shared a portion of my story. So I thought it would be important for me to share it with you to some degree, because we're always on Facebook and, you're always seeing me, when I'm on there or whatever. And you see what my eyes look like. You see that they're very peculiar. They're different. They are unique. They are a part of who I am. And so let me tell you a little bit of that story. Now tell me this, before I go any further, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yay! Okay, so here it goes. So let's see if I can put this in the short, let me see if I can give you the skinny of my story. So when I was about 6 years old, I attended preschool in a little rural town called Robertsville. And the name of the school was Robertsville Elementary, and it was a preschool there. And while there on the playground, and we were all playing as kids, evidently I was told this, but I have no real recollection of it. But I was standing very close to a person who was swinging on a swing. And you know how when you're swinging and you're pumping your legs really, you're really pumping your legs to get that maximum height when you're on the swing? The person was in the swing doing that, and evidently I was standing too close to it. And to nobody's fault, when she was pumping and she was going up, she accidentally kicked me in my face. And that was the beginning of this saga. So a couple of weeks later, nothing, I had a bruise on my head, a slight concussion, but there wasn't anything. They didn't take me to the doctor. It was just like, okay, a freak accident on the playground. Okay, and that was years and years ago, mind you. So a couple of weeks after that, my mother and my father began to notice that I was moving closer and closer to the television. And so they were concerned. Being a kid, you don't know how to say to your parents, my vision is diminishing. I think you need to take me to the doctor. I had no idea that it was happening. As children, we just learn to adapt quickly to our environment. And so evidently I began adapting to my environment by moving closer to the television. So my mother and my father took me to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with having retinal detachment. So the retina is the part of that eye that catches the light. And so that began to detach in my eye. And after many surgeries in Savannah starting off, then in Augusta, the majority of my surgeries took place in Augusta. But they did a number of things. The count in total, honestly, we stopped counting at surgery number 26. It was no need. It was really no need to continue counting surgeries, how many surgeries you have after surgery number 26. So I'm going to say I had at least 26, but probably no more than 30. Okay, so at least 26, probably no more than 30, and I'm guesstimating there. So between those surgeries, I had retinal detachments, and what kept happening every few years, the retinas will keep detaching itself, and so I was a guinea pig for a lot of new innovations out there. Glue. They tried a particular type of glue to reattach the retina, didn't work. They did some type of sewing, did not stick. After all of the surgeries began to destroy my cornea. So I started having, cornea transplants. It was always another one after the next. So when you're looking at me, you would normally think that I have probably the most vision out of this eye here. I don't. I actually have no vision in this eye over here. The vision that I currently have is in this one here, the eye that has lost its integrity because of the pupil. The amount of vision that I see, it varies. Can't tell all my trade secrets, but I see now, I wouldn't use my vision to get around if I had to get around in a place that's unfamiliar. I wouldn't do that. I use a cane. I would use a cane when I worked in corporate America. That was my main way of getting around, was canes, using a cane. When I'm with people that I know, I use them. How about that? It's just an easier thing. When I'm at my church, I use nothing. I am quite familiar with my church and its surroundings. As a matter of fact, I get teased a lot at church. They keep thinking that I do have more vision than what I actually do. So I kind of keep them off kilter right there. But from the age of 5 until whatever age it is you go to high school, was that 13? High school started for us at in 8th grade. So what? Someone said something.
Latrell said, "Don't use me no more. I can't be trusted."
You will be used, brother Latrell Wigfall. Anyway, so when I got to high school, and I'm using some Ebonic language here, so I just want to be the way I want to be today. I do have a degree in English, but I'm doing what I want to do tonight. How about that? So when I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, the detachment started happening again. And so my whole 10th grade year, was it 10th grade? I was on homebound, being taught by my aunt, which was the most horrible thing in the world. Miss Mary Yarborough did not give me a break at all because of the number of surgeries I was having within that year. People ask me, what was I going through emotionally when all that was happening? I think as a kid, I didn't have time to really survey my emotions where it was concerned. I just had to get quickly in the flow. I wasn't sad about it. I didn't look at myself differently. My house didn't allow me to. No one in my house allowed me to look at myself differently. Maybe I was in some type of protective bubble because I didn't realize that there was anything different about me, especially when my eyes were concerned, until I got outside of that bubble. Let's see, when was the first time? I think when I was in the 8th grade, Mr. Peterson, he was our science teacher, or maybe 7th or 9th grade. It wasn't, maybe 8th or 9th grade. I had a teacher, his name was Mr. Peterson, and he told us to draw caricatures of ourselves. And he paired us up with people. And I didn't have someone to pair up with because it was an odd number of kids in the class. So he and I were together, me and Mr. Peterson. So I drew a caricature of him, and he drew one of me. I never looked at his caricature of me until I got home that day. And I looked at it, and I was thrown aback. I looked at it, I was like, whoa, is this what people see when they look at me? And so in his eyes, the drawing probably was very accurate, but it did not represent what I thought about myself or even what I saw of myself in the mirror. And I think that was probably one of the first realizations that people saw my eyes as different. Because my family never, ever, that never was a point of conversation. Oh, your eyes are different. You're different. That never was a point of conversation in the house or with family or relatives. No one ever made a distinction between me and anyone else. And I think the second thing was I was in the marching band as well. So I'm still having enough vision to do all these things at school. But instead of reading the music in band, I memorized every stitch of music that our band director gave us. I played first chair. I played the flute, first chair, and every single piece of music I memorized, not even realizing that's what I was doing. But I would go home and memorize every stitch of music, and I played first chair. And we were in a band, marching. It was probably during the fall or something like that, and we were in a city marching in a parade. And as I was on the outside of the flank, and I remember this girl, and she was standing on the curb, and she looked at me, and she said, "Ah, look at her eyes." And that bothered me. I was like, what in the heck is everybody seeing? So, I began to, those were milestones in my life. Those things were milestones. And those things began to make me feel different. How did I handle that? Maybe I'll find out as we continue to talk. So, graduated, out of the top 3 of my class, came off to Winthrop University, still did not realize that there was a major problem going on with me. Learned the campus like the back of my hand. There were different sororities and fraternities that would assist in reading, because at this time I could only read big print, and there weren't many textbooks that were printed in the big print. Computers were just getting started, so there weren't any great innovations like VoiceOver that Apple products have, or the JAWS software that I used at work in corporate America. So everything, I was Winthrop's guinea pig. I think I was the first person at Winthrop's campus to have a challenge that they didn't know what to do with. And so that was interesting. So there were many fraternities and sororities that assisted me in reading. You know what, as I look back on it, I was absolutely fabulous to go to college and graduate in the amount of time that I did. It wasn't 4 years. It was like maybe 5 and a half. But I didn't take full loads. I took 13 hours at a time, maybe 15 at the most, because that's all I could handle, being that I wasn't reading. Stayed in Bancroft for a couple of years, and then moved over to Lee Wicker. Learned the campus like the back of my hand, that when my vision started to decrease even more, I had absolutely no idea. I had no idea that my vision was decreasing at all until I graduated Winthrop and got into a different environment. And I said, oh my God, I can't see. I can't see as well as I thought I could. I knew every nook and cranny of Winthrop. It wasn't a problem. But when I left Winthrop and then got married, and Carlton and I moved into our first apartment, it was a difficult thing because I had no idea. The terrain was different for me. And so it was quite an adjustment. Making friends for me was never a difficult thing. I never did much to draw attention. One thing that usually that would really frustrate me, being a person with the type of vision I have, is if I went into the bank or into the store with somebody and they would address the person next to me instead of me. I'm the one paying for it. I'm the one working. I am the one that's doing the transaction. That right there was humiliating. Until I, started putting people in their place in a gracious manner. Another thing that kind of frustrates me, and people don't do this as much anymore, is walk up to me and say, who am I? You know my voice? Don't do that. That is absolutely frustrating. Don't even play with me like that, because if you were in my shoes, and I remember many people's voices, don't get me wrong. But there are too many other things that take priority in my life for me to, give your voice the main attention, especially if I haven't spoken to you in 12 months or more. Let's say 6 months or more, okay? It's not fair. It's very frustrating. And don't ever do that to anyone who You know, and I know it's fun. I know it's like a game or whatever. Let's see if she can remember my voice. But nah, don't do that. You walk up to me, say, hey, this is Beverly Charlette, or this is Beverly Charlette. Just let me know who you are. You know, I know everyone in my church family pretty good. There's one woman whose voice, she knows how, she's a chameleon with her voice. Sister Carolyn Crawford. She gets me every time. But usually everyone else is you know, just, you know, be respectful to me in that place. Well, I never ever thought of myself as pretty, but I never ever thought of myself as ugly either. So I think I never had a self-esteem problem because of my vision. I don't have a self-esteem problem now. Do I think I'm ugly now? Absolutely not. I think that the way God has allowed this to happen makes me even more attractive. It brings attention to me in a good way that I can, people are curious, they are intrigued, and I use that as a means of displaying Christ. People like to see how I do things. Those whom I let in my home, they are amazed that I cook and clean and do all the natural things people do in the home. You know, people say, well, I would never be able to do what you do. Yes, you would. You would be able to do what I do if you had to. You know, if you had to operate like I have had to, you would be able to do it. It is not, if you have been pushed into that position, you will make a way, you know. Just like this COVID-19 has pushed us to remain quarantined and eat the foods that we have in our houses, and to be innovative in ways that we never thought that we would be innovative. Necessity is the mother of invention. So yeah, you'll be able to, any type of a thing that happens to you that causes you to have to adapt quickly. The problem isn't adapting. The problem will be you embracing the adaptation. So basically, yeah. So if you have any questions about my eyes, like I said, I have more vision in this eye than I do in this eye. Have a question, comment right there. Let Alea see it. Can I see myself in the mirror? If I get close up on it, yes. Do I pick out my own clothes? Absolutely. Do I know what color? Do I know what color I have on tonight? Yes, I have on red. Do I always know what color I have on? I have some dark colors like blues and blacks. Those dark colors, maybe not. But I have memorized everything in my closet that I don't use my eyes to look at them. Like I told you earlier, I can use a cane if I want to, but I choose not to. Would you have any questions about my eyes? What is something you've always wanted to ask me about my eyes and you've been like, okay, I don't know if I should?
I have a question.
What question, baby?
So you can kind of see?
I dare not tell Simone how much vision I have because she would use that against me. Yeah. What?
No, you have really good hearing skills.
I absolutely do have good hearing skills, but I do see as well. None of my children ever question how much I am able to see except this last one. The other girls always thought I had 20/20 vision up until they became of age and realized. But this one I got, this last one, she tries to figure out exactly how much I can see. Let me tell you, it's a mess. I'm going to tell you that. So, are you done with your questions, Simone? You done? Anyone has any questions that I can answer for you?
No, but you got a lot of awesome comments.
Yeah. Ask me a question. I am not offended. Let me tell you who are the most honest people that will ever ask questions. Let me tell you, children. And you know what Charlette does? I sit down and I explain to them. They'll say, what's wrong with your eyes? I'll say, there isn't anything wrong with my eyes. My eyes are different. I mean, my eyes are cool. They're peculiar. They make me who I am, just like your eyes make you who you are. So I sit down, crisscross applesauce with children, and explain to them that it is okay being different. It is okay to look different. It is okay not to be like everyone else, not to look like everybody else. So that's important. That we are not cookie. I teach my own children not to be, carbon copies of anybody. Be who God has created you to be, even in your flaws, because God is beauty enough in your life, even with your flaws. You may feel that you're not skinny enough. You may feel that you need more, flesh on your body. You may feel that you're not light enough. Your skin is too dark. Your skin is not pretty enough. You may feel that you're just not enough. But I want to tell you how God has made you is more than enough. How God has fashioned you with his own hands. It is beauty enough. How the Lord has created you for his glory. No matter what flaws you may think you have, it is beauty enough. You remember Moses? Moses did not want to go when God called him to, be the spokesperson to let the people go. When they were in Egypt, he started making all kinds of excuses why he couldn't do it. God, my speech isn't good. I can't talk. God says, okay, I'll give you someone who can talk for you. Listen, how God has created you is beauty enough. Even with my eyes, I got a lot of attention from men, from guys in college and beyond. Of course, I'm married now, but even now, I get eyes still today. It's not because of my eyes. It's because of the confidence that I carry. I'm beauty enough. Even in the flaws that people may think are flaws, I love my eyes. I don't try to hide them. I don't put on shades to try to make anyone else feel comfortable. I'm comfortable in my own brown skin. I'm comfortable in my eyes. The difference in my eyes. I am comfortable in who Charlette is now. Every single day. You have a question for me? Go on. I'm about to sign off. Write a question. And it might not be Latrell saying something foolish.
Miss Pollard.
Folly. What?
Miss Pollard said.
Catherine.
She said, I remember one Sunday you told me you liked my hair. What part of the style did you see? The naps?
She says that I told her one Sunday. Let me explain to you. When I tell somebody I like their hair, or I like the way, we give off vibes. And I may have touched her hair accidentally or something because she had what did she wear? The dreads, those dreads or whatever. But Cat Pollard throws off a wonderful, fabulous vibe. And so I said, when I grow up, I want to look like Cat Pollard. Beauty is more than skin deep. Beauty vibes out. You don't have to even see a person's face to know that they're beautiful. So I'm able to see beauty without seeing beauty. So that's how it is, Kat. Any other questions? Any other questions?
Let me see.
Yeah.
You're just getting a lot of,
Okay.
love here.
A lot of love.
I'll let you read them.
Okay,
Go through
yeah,
them.
but so after 26 surgeries, man, I just stopped counting. Thanks to my family who never made me feel different. The reason why I came to Winthrop was because that last year of high school, I already was accepted to Howard University. And my mother and my high school chorus teacher, Miss Manigo, who graduated from Winthrop, they began to talk behind my back. It was conspiracy against me. My mother really didn't want me to go that far off because she wanted me to stay close to my doctors in Durham at Duke University, which at that time, probably still now, the best doctors in the country when it came to eyes, surgery and things of that nature. So I was all ready to go to Howard University. And so my mother and Miss Manigo, and I thank God for this because if this didn't happen, I would have never met my husband. I tried out for All-State Chorus. Miss Manigo she strongly encouraged me and some more of my high school classmates to try out for the All-State Chorus, and I made it. I made honors chorus at and the tryouts were at Winthrop, and the concerts were at Winthrop as well. And when I saw the campus, walked the campus, and at that time I had a lot of more vision than what I have now, and I fell in love with the campus. And I told my mother, I think I'm going to put an application in for Winthrop University. And I did, and of course was accepted there as well. And it was only, 2.5 hours or more from Duke University, close enough where I didn't have to fly in for my doctor appointments or if I needed to have more surgeries. And I don't regret the decision. I made some wonderful friends at Winthrop. Erica, Stephanie, my girlfriend Wilma came off to school with me. Oh my God. Other friends I have at Winthrop that just, they were there for me, even those times when helped me with my work, getting from place to place when it began to become difficult. My husband, Carlton, the Ebonites, people like that, those communities that I connected myself with. I praise and I thank God for it. But I didn't want to go all into that. But I am grateful for how God created me to be. And once again, I encourage you, be who you are. Never deny any part of you. I don't care if you look ugly, because that's who God wants to use, the total you. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. Take care. Have a good evening.